Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of our entire research group, I would like to cordially welcome you to the International Conference of the Central European Professors Network, entitled The Impact of Digital Platforms and Social Media on Freedom of Expression and Pluralism in a Specific Perspective. Unfortunately, the reasons beyond my control did not allow me to come to you directly to Budapest. However, I can assure you that I am mentally with you. Dear guests, it all started over a year ago, when are the two institutes, the Institute of Ferenc Medal in Budapest and the Institute of Justice in Warsaw, established very close cooperation by signing an appropriate Memorandum of Understanding. As part of our cooperation, two powerful and very important scientific projects were created. The first, which I have already mentioned, is the Central European Professors Network, a project mainly carried out by the Ferenc Medal Institute in Budapest. The second, the Polish-Hungarian Research Platform, is a project carried out mainly by the Institute of Justice in Warsaw. In the project of the Central European Professors Network, it was a huge honor and a great pleasure for me to be the head of one of the research groups which dealt with the area of the impact of digital platforms and social media on freedom of expression and pluralism. Our group consists of 8 great people. It is very nice and well coordinated and hardworking, of course, team. Let me introduce members of this group to you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce Mrs. Professor Sanja Savic, PhD from the University of Novi Sad in Serbia, specialist in the field of general theory of obligation law, contract law, and intellectual property law. Mrs. Dr. Kristina Čufar from the Faculty of Law and Administration of the University of Ljubljana, Slovenia, specialized in law and technology, law, philosophy and theory, especially critical theory and law and the humanities. Mr. Professor Andras Koltai, the rector and professor of the National University of Public Service in Budapest, Hungary. Mr. Professor main research is freedom of speech, personality right and media regulation. He is the author of many of the publications and numerous monographs on the freedom of speech. Mr. Professor Davor Derencinovic, Professor of Criminal Law and Criminology at the Faculty of Law, University of Zagreb, President of the Croatian Academy of Legal Science, today elected on a judge of the European Court of Human Rights. Mr. Professor Dusan Popovic, Professor of Intellectual Property Law, Competition Law and Internet Law at the University of Belgrade, Faculty of Law. He is specialist on competition law, intellectual property law, European law, of course, and Internet law. Mr. Professor Alice Rosenal, Mr. Professor is specialized in anti-corruption law, media law, business law, civil law, law and obligation, commercial law, civil procedure, etc. And Mr. Bartłomiej Oręziak, whom we all know in the group and who, apart from the substantive part, with his research contribution, always provided us with organization support within the group. He is now last year PhD student at the Faculty of Law and Administration of the Cardinal Stefan Wyszyński University in Warsaw, and he is coordinator of the Institute of Justice in Warsaw Center for Strategic Analysis. Finally, I would like to warmly welcome also to today's conference Mrs. Professor Marta Dragicevich-Prtelniak, who will be guest lecturer at our conference on the area of our research. So, dear friends, all members of our research group are outstanding scientists with a keen and penetrating analytical perspective. They are people with an open and healthy approach to the research problem. And finally, they are people who have the ability to predict future threats related to the impact of digital platforms and social media on freedom of expression and pluralism. There is no doubt that the impact of digital platforms and social media on freedom of expression and pluralism is currently one of the key issues and requires an interdisciplinary research approach. This is why our team consists of specialists from criminal law, civil law, economic law, contract law, media law, social law, intellectual property law, and sociology, theory and philosophy of law. I think we made a great team of true Hungary scientists and great scientific friends. We have worked hundreds of hours separately and all together. These were monthly group meetings. We have written hundreds of pages of books, articles and analyses. The team created several dozens webinars, conducted hundreds of interviews and even prepared an Oxford debate between young scientists from Poland and Hungary. Dear friends, what unforgettable moments, what an intellectual adventure and amazing challenge, positive emotion and joy was after each event. This is how it all looked like. I would like to thank all of you, as well as each of you, for your contribution, for your efforts, for your time and ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, in this welcoming speech, I cannot fail to say thank for two special people. On behalf of our entire team, I would like to thank Professor Szilagi for the idea of creating this kind of professors network, for the courage in the selection of topics, and for all our cooperation. I would also like to thank the Deputy Minister of Justice of the Republic of Poland, Dr. Marcin and all Ministers of Justice, of course, for the support, understanding and, as always, good advice. Dear friends, I think we don't all realize how powerful we are participating in these two projects. Each of us at the beginning and now in their longer or shorter scientist path looked with curiosity and envy at the dynamically developing scientific work of Western Europe, which is good and after all I hope it will be. However, I missed research program international connecting scientists from Central Europe and from our area. I do not remember that in the past or now there were scientific programs in the fields of law on such a huge scale as the Central Europe Professor Network or the Polish-Hungarian research platform. So far in our part of Europe there has been no courage, I think, to finally take the initiative in Central Europe and break this monopoly of science and research in powerful centers in Western Europe. There was no courage to scientifically unite this area and create our own international research project for the needs of our countries of Central Europe, for the needs of our societies, and to work out rational conclusion in them that will be the foundation for universal and useful solution. After all, we see that we live in a time where the natural order of things does not seem to be natural order of things and as such is imposed on us by the strong. We live in a time where values in classical understanding, for example, sovereignty, seems to be only a apparent element of state instead of being the most valuable and most important element of each state. Through projects such as this, we send a strong signal that in our part of Europe there is a huge scientific potential which gives rise to sustainable and healthy ideas, beautiful plans and dreams of a fair, useful for societies and, above all, effective legal system. I know that we are at the beginning of the road because these are only the first edition of project, but let's try to become a scientific voice through such project in an area quite heavily overwhelmed by the ideas of powerful research centers from Western Europe. Dear friends, I wish you all the best. I wish you good health in these strange times and thank you for your participation in the project. I wish everyone here a fruitful debate. Thank you.